I'm a music teacher and a video game music composer, and today I am listening to the Sonic Japan style CD for the very first time. I have never heard this music before in my life, not once ever. So everything I do talk about, teach, break down for you is gonna be off the top of my head in the moment. Let's jump straight in and rock and roll with Sonic CD. Let's do this thing with You Can Do Anything. Let's rock this roll. Here we go.
In heaven, stay alive. Now shoot with me. We're going to have fun. Say, nice off. Hi, Excalibur. It's about that bar. What do you mean? Give it taste. Going home. Side zone. Check out it. Live alone. Leather legs. Get in place. What do you get? Say, back it. Zoom room. Cosmic zoom. That's up, Jay. It's Sonic Boom. To Sonic Warrior. To Sonic Warrior.
You are what you need out of him. You got the power to save the land.
Wow, I had not at all that planned. Before the stream started, I said, give me a countdown. I did not know we were about to get a countdown of the music. What an incredible thing to start this music off. And I mean, wow, what a shift. By the way, from Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, now listening to the Sonic CD now, if my history is correct, this actually came out between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Correct me if I'm right or wrong in the chat there. Point is, regardless, if you compare this type of music to the type of music that was showing up in the game, a radical departure. However, spoiler alert, I've listened to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I believe is the Sonics that I've listened to, and I will tell you this is much more in line with some of the vocal music we hear later on in the Sonic franchise. So really cool to see what we call the, wait for it, genesis of this type of Sonic music back here in the Sonic CD. Super stoked to keep rocking and rolling here. By the way, as we go through, this is a live stream. Shout out to RP, Dev, Ryan, and Miro King, and Swait Opal. We're on a live stream here, so if you have questions about the music, let me know in the chat. I'll be watching the chat, and I will actually respond and answer your questions about the music. So, how did that melody work? Or whatever your question is, just pop it in the chat. All right, we're gonna keep cooking here to this next one because it's gonna be Tidal. Oh, that was super exciting. Let's pull that back one more time, DJ. I'm missing one chord there. Ah, that's what it is. All right, so what do we have in terms of a chord progression here in this title? We're in the key of E major. We have a to the 5, to the flat 7, to the 4 with a slightly out of tune guitar there, but you won't hold that against me, will you? No, you wouldn't do that because, you know, I tuned it before we started. But then what happens is, you know, it gets up here and it gets a little bit of stage fright. Well, it doesn't get stage fright, but it just gets like, oh my gosh, how many people are watching me get played by Dan right now and he's wearing a Sonic costume? Which is how my guitar sounds. So there we go. Still a little out of tune, but that is much better. So right there, and then we have on top of this dum dum bum 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 bum. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing now. I don't know. So it's just different chords with this same melodic fragment over it. So what do we have that in terms of the melody? The melody is the same thing repeated 4 times in a row. So I call that be-dee-da-do. I'd call that motif A. So we have motif A. Then guess what we have? We have motif A. Then guess what we have next? We have motif A. And then we wrap it up with, because it's the same exact thing, a 4th time in a row, motif number A. And saying, hey, that's a trick question. You said number and said it was a letter. I don't know what to tell you. Let's check out this next one, which is Sonic CD 510 beta music. Let's check this out. All right, so what do we have here for the beta music title screen? Actually a little bit different. We can see that we're actually in the key of D. We'll call it, in purpose of this, we'll call it D minor. Okay, D minor, we have a 1 chord going to a 4 chord, not uncommon. We saw that back in Sonic 3, that chord progression, if you recall. And then in terms of the melody, again, we have a pretty repetition melody. What's the melody? All right, so what do we have there? We have an A, B, A, C melodies. We hear B, da, 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 and then we have some type of ending, ba, ba, and then we have B, da, 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 da. It starts the same, but then it ends a little bit differently. So that's gonna be an A, B, A, C pattern in the melody. All right, let's keep it going. Little Planet. Oops, sorry.
House music.
When house music plays, you gotta dance like a noodle. All right, let's talk about the melody here in Little Planet. So in the melody, we could hear it starts off with. And I forget the exact, and then that repeats. And then it goes. Then we're back to. Or something like that right at the end. But the point is, we have this idea, which we're gonna call subphrase A in the melody. So subphrase A is made up of. And then that repeats. Now it goes somewhere pretty different. So it still starts off with the interval of perfect fifth, so we could kind of call it motif A prime. But then it goes somewhere so different. I would actually really think about this as being, and just to be clear, let me explain the system I'm gonna use here real quick for you. So when we think about a motif is the smallest recognizable musical idea. So for example, if we do, let's see, so I'll call be-do, da-dee-do, dee-da-dee-da-da. We can call that a motif. That would be a second motif, related to the first motif, but yeah. And then here's another motif. Well, same motif again. And then we'd have. There we go. So right there, what do we hear? We heard ba 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 ba. I'd call that a motif. Now, you could also call that a subphrase. A subphrase is a group of motifs together. And if you're saying, well, if you could call it two different things, how do we even know which way is up? You don't really. These are imperfect terms. We're using language to describe music, and it does not always fit into a watertight box. But what we can do is we can use this language to understand the general patterns of music, at least at the piece level, what's going on in this particular melody right here, and then we can extrapolate, we can use those patterns to understand music in other areas. So let's understand what's going on here real quick. We have. So we have a start. That repeats twice. And I'm going to call just this movement from the 1 to 5, I'm going to call that motif 1. And because it's the first one that happens, I'm also going to call it A. It's the first one that happens in this line. Now, we plays again. You call those two notes a motif? Kind of, sort of. This is why I'm saying we could call this whole thing I'm playing right here, we could also call this just subphrase A. So we could call that either a subphrase or we could call it a motif. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're just using language to describe sound. Then we hear it again. Now I'm going to call the sum of both of these parts together subphrase A. Okay, then we hear that same thing again. We hear the same motif A, 1, and then the same motif B, 2. And this is again going to be subphrase A. Now here's where it changes. Where it changes is it goes. So it's still starting off with that fifth. So I'm going to call that motif A1 again, but I'm going to call it prime because it's different notes. I'm playing it slightly higher. And then we have motif B, but this time this is a 3, right? Because it's a different, that's different. And then we have motif A again. 1 prime. And then we have ba, beep, ba. And you're saying, well, Dan, you're saying one note changes the motif. Yeah, that's why I said this is kind of a tenuous way of even breaking this down to begin with. We call this motif C4. And if you're saying, well, one note's a motif, yeah, maybe we should have thought about this whole thing as subphrases. But now you're starting to see, oh, okay, there's different levels of this. If you've ever played around with Google Earth where you can zoom in and zoom out, we're doing the same thing with music. And that's how we can break down and understand different pieces of the melody. So type M in the chat if you just understood a little bit more about melody than you did before. And I just saw a question in the chat of what is the difference between a motif and a leitmotif? A leitmotif is a motif sometimes even longer, right? A leitmotif, sometimes people use a subphrase, people even use a whole phrase, sometimes people even use a theme and call it a leitmotif. But a leitmotif describes a person, place, thing, or situation. Okay, let's keep on rocking and rolling here with this next one, which is gonna be something. All right, it is super loopy now. So let's talk about the chord progression that we just heard in Palmtree Panic. Well, we heard a 2, by the way, in the key of C major. We heard a 2 minor 7 going to a 1 just 7. And we can actually, wow, we've got this color coding situation out here. Boom, boom, boom. Cool stuff. All right, so what did we just color code? We just color coded the subdominant, tonic, and dominant areas within this chord progression. What does that even mean? Well, in music, much like in video games, oftentimes, not always, but there is a story that's happening at the level of the music. And which level of music, you might ask? Well, at different levels all at the same time, but this particular story we're gonna look at is happening at the level of the harmony. What's harmony, you ask? Well, it's when we have 2 notes at the same time. What's a note? Well, here's a note, here's a note, here's a note. And if we play a bunch of notes together, we get harmony. So at the level of the grouping of the harmony, so the notes together, a story gets told. And what's that story? Well, this story has 3 areas inside of it, much like, well, different sonic zones. Like zone 1, when you play in a Sonic game, usually substantially easier than whatever the zone 2 is gonna be. So what we have is in the tonic area, which you will see me color green. If I have time to color code, I won't always have time to color code as we go through this, but if I do have time to color code, the tonic area will be green. And that is like you are safe at home. Here's you safe at home. Now, the next place we go to is the subdominant area. Now in the subdominant area, this is where you go out into the world. You're saying, what are you drawing, Mr. Man dressed up as a Sonic? Well, what I'm drawing is a world. And if you're saying that doesn't look like the world, well, you know, my mother told me I was special, and now here we are. And then next up, we have the dominant area. Now the dominant area, this is where we have, ooh, the big bad boss. Here's the big bad boss. Oh, with nasty pointy teeth. Yeah, or perhaps better would be, okay, a big mustache with some goggles and a nose. And okay, you got a Robotnik. We're gonna be franchise specific here with our example. All right, so you got a Robotnik, which also conveniently is colored red. As I recall, Robotnik likes the color red. All right, so we got Robotnik, and subdominant area is yellow. So basically, tonic area we have safety, subdominant area we have some type of adventure, and then red dominant area we have the height of tension. This is like the boss fight of the music. And it's by creating different areas of tension and resolution that the music sounds interesting. So we have this 2 minor 7. This 2 minor 7, this acts as the subdominant that, ooh, sounds like it resolves home when we hit the 1. And same thing when we go to the B section, we have this subdominant, which feels like it kind of resolves here too. This subdominant, which wants to resolve somewhere. Where's it gonna resolve? Right here. We have this adventure of the 4, which resolves to the 3. Then we hang on this 2. Something's gonna happen. Then we're at the 5. This is the height. This is the height of tension. Where's it gonna resolve? To the 1. There we go. So that's how we rock and roll with tonic, subdominant, and dominant areas of music. And even if you know nothing about music, you just learned something you can actually apply and understand. Oh, there's different levels of tension. We move from one level to another, and it's by moving through those levels of tension that the story of the music unfolds. Type T in the chat for tonic if you now understand tonic, subdominant, and dominant areas. Let's rock and roll. Oh my. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay, so I'm actually gonna pause this here because this is really wild. What's really wild, type U in the chat or put it in the comments if you're watching afterwards if you felt unsettled listening to this. If as soon as it started playing, you felt a little bit unsettled or uneasy or feeling like, this is kind of, in French they would say ça frotte. There's tension. There's tension here. Okay, why that is an interesting thing. So this piece of music is actually outside of what we would consider to be standard tuning. So standard tuning takes a bunch of notes. Remember, we played a note here. Note, 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 note. Oh, same note twice. That's okay. But what you have is all of these notes create sound, and they create sound in a very particular way. In fact, all sound works this way. We're going to talk about this in terms of notes. So sound happens in cycles like this. Okay? And what is a cycle? It's when sound starts here and then comes back and ends here. Now, these sound cycles, if it cycles faster, the note sounds higher, and if it cycles slower, the note sounds lower. We have a standard number of cycles. One cycle, by the way, is called a hertz, Hz. So normally, we think about one note, which we call A. We call it A. There's no real reason why we call it A. We just call it A. And then someone's going to watch it and be like, well, technically, the history of... Whatever. Okay, then what happens is this A note should go at 440 cycles per second. Now what's happening is the music we're listening to here, I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly the number of cycles per second, but I will tell you it is fewer than 440. And it's fewer than 440 to the point that I was noticing it immediately, and I was actually, if you notice, I wasn't playing along with my guitar while the music was going. Why is that? My guitar is tuned to A440. This music is not in A440. So listen to what happens when we hear not A440 music played with an instrument that is tuned to A440. Listen to this. Ouch would be the operative term at this point. Yeah. So that is out of tune. It's going to give you a weird, odd feeling because it is out of tune. And yes, I'm seeing that is from the past. Interesting that the past would be out of tune. B is for bad future. So what I'm really curious to see is I'm curious to see what happens in, okay, we don't, it doesn't seem like we have, oh, we do have a B. All right. So I'm going to, we have the proto. We're going to skip the proto for this one. I want to go straight to the bad future. I want to hear what that sounds like right now so I have a direct comparison. Okay. All right, so here's what's wild. Over the chord progression we just heard, well, 2 pieces ago, and like whatever the good was. So the good, we heard this chord progression of 2 minor 7 to 1 major 7. We still hear that in this bad future version, except what's happening over it is this. This minor D minor riff thing that's happening over, yeah, again, exactly, future trashed, noob hoot 1 2 3, exactly, future trashed. And so what are we hearing? Well, we're hearing notes from C major being used, but we're hearing the use of distortion, and we're hearing the use of, I mean, a whole lot of stuff like beatbox and a bunch of other things going on here to create this feeling of this. I mean, I'm just looking at the screenshot here. It looks like a dystopian future where like palm trees are made out of like the robot stuff. Wow. I gotta hear what happens with the rest. Let's take a quick listen to the prototype mix, and then we're gonna move on. Move the track name upwards. The short answer is yes. I'm gonna just expand the area for it. All right, great. Let's listen to the next one. I get the idea. Work it. There we go. And, well, we took the extra time just to get the C section of this piece down, so now you know the full harmony of the whole thing. In C section, it's 1 to 3 to 2 to 5 to a 5 of 6 to a 5 of 2 to a 2 to a 5. Absolutely beautiful. Let's keep rocking and rolling to the next one, Collision Chaos. We're listening to a new piece now, folks. Buckle up, my buttercups, and let's do this thing. Type a 3 in the chat if you're having a nice time and enjoying this stream. Let's go. That is a wild sound. Not practice without a minute. Okay. Cool. Let's talk about funk. What is funk? Who made funk? Where does the funk come from? And where, most importantly, has it gone? Funk. Funk is a super interesting genre of music. Why? Well, because you could think about it kind of like a machine. In what way is funk like a machine? Well, over here in this machine, we've got this very, very well-drawn cog. And this very, very well-drawn cog, there we go, is gonna spin around. Now this little cog spinning is like this little guitar part. And notice that stayed for a very long duration of time. There was that one thing, dump bump, dum ba bump ba dum, that just spins around and around and around and around, and it stays there. And then what happens is you get another cog over here. Again, very well drawn cog. You want to come over to Dan's cog shop, and you'll find the best drawn cogs you've ever seen. This is such a dangerous conversation to have. Okay, right, and this over here, this is like the drum beat. And the drum beat just keeps going around and around and around. And so what funk is as a genre, it's all these different little machines that spin around and around and together create this feeling of, check out this word right here, this is an important one, groove. Groove. It's the groove. The groove is the culmination, the bringing together of all the different cogs in the machine. So there you go. Sonic Power, yeah, he's like, just use the word gear. Yeah, but that's no fun. That's too easy. If you're not walking the line of getting canceled while doing a Sonic live stream, are you even doing a Sonic live stream? All right, let's go to Collision Chaos P-Mix. Oh, wild. Get funky now. There it is. Listen to the way that melody repeats. That's funk right there. Yeah, just a little flat there too. It's not A440. So even right there, just that melody, the way that melody repeats, is you know. I'm paraphrasing. Right there, that is funky in and of itself. And then we got this B section, which has this flat 3 major 7, this 1 major 7. Now, if you're going, wow, all this stuff sounds really cool, and I actually would like to make my own music. If you're saying that to yourself, if you're a gamer and you want to make your own music, I've got something for you. It's a free video game music composer starter pack. It is in the video description of this video. Go get it. And then if you're really serious about taking your music to the next level, you will see a calendar on the next page after you get that starter pack. Book a call, talk with someone on my team. We literally help gamers create their own music. We have people we've gotten their first game contracts with us, gotten their first music out on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music with us, made their first dollar as a video game composer with us. We help gamers create incredible music. I myself have composed for now 3 going on 4 OSTs. Like, come hang out. We make video game music, and if you're a gamer, you want to create your own video game music, check out the free video game music starter pack. It's in the video game description. Click that thing, grab it. It'll also be in the pinned comment. And let's get rocking and rolling. All right, let's keep it going. All right. Oh, I think we're getting something here, actually. So what do we hear? We hear the funk. Type an F in the chat if you can hear. There's so many little small repeating things. There's so many small repeating ideas, like just this right here. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. You have all these different lines that repeat together. So in fact, you could actually think about funk as being the modern man's orchestra. Why? Well, in the most, let's say, technical orchestral writing, what do you have? You have each section has its own melody, right? Everyone's playing a melody that together creates one larger melody or one larger experience. Everyone's playing one note at a time. And it's together the sum of all these notes being played at the same time that actually creates the feeling of the orchestra. Now, what we can think about is in the same way, funk, we have all these individual parts that repeat and together create the feeling of, we've got the funk, yes. Gotta have that funk, I said. We need the funk, or got the funk, or something. We have some type of possessive way or a need of some type for the funk. Funk, 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 funk. Maybe it's flat 6 this whole time. It actually is. Sorry. My bad. There it is. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so what's going on here? We're hearing a flat 6 major 7. Oops, let's go through a little cleaner there. To a, well, let's get a little zhuzh on it. There we go. Flat 6 to 1, absolutely gorgeous. Now what does the flat 6 to 1 do here? Well, the flat 6 to 1, they actually share a note in common. The note that they share in common is C. Si, senor. The note that they have is C. Now, the notes that change is we have over here A flat, C, and E flat. And over here we have C, E natural, and G. Now what's interesting is if we play this as a major 7, it actually also shares 2 notes. Count them, 2 dos notes. And yeah, so that's first of all the connection between the two of them. Now, here's the key difference. The key difference is going to be, watch it coming at you in red. Trouble ahead, oh, lady in red. Take my advice, you'd better listen to sonic music. Now, we have E flat to E. Now that E flat to E, that's gonna be the difference between a C major and a C minor. And so really what we're doing is we're alternating between the parallel minor over here and the parallel major over here, at least is the way that I think about it, especially because you got this A flat over here, so that actually reinforces a C natural minor with, again, those 2 shared notes. All right, let's keep it cooking, good looking, and yes, I'm talking to you. Oh, goodness me. All right, let's keep it going with Tidal Tempest. Oh my goodness, this chord progression. Bro. Sick. All right, we're looping now. All right, so what do we have going on here? Well, we're in the key of F major, but it sure doesn't sound like it for the entire A section. Indeed, in the entire A section, we are grooving with a J minor to a G minor chord, an A minor 7 to a G minor 7. Now, even within that, you might say, well, hang on a second. No, we're solid on that. Yeah, major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and then half diminished. I know that didn't sound right, but that's okay. So, we're really in the key of F this whole time, but then what happens is it goes to like the B section, and it lands on F. Sure enough, we hear that resolution. So basically, we can think about this in terms of our color codings from earlier, right? We have this sort of tonic area for the 3. You could also technically call 3 the dominant area, but we'll leave that for now. We go to the subdominant area with the 2, and then finally we come back home to hit the 1, but here's the wild thing, is as soon as we hit the 1, we go straight to the 1 minor 7. What? What and how and why? Really cool. We're gonna keep going and rocking and rolling. So Peep Imus says, I'm pretty sure it's an A minor though, and that F is just the flat 6. Actually, I would argue no. Here's why. This is, I would say that this is not in A minor. First of all, you have the G minor, the A minor that happens first that goes to the G minor. G minor has the note of B flat in it, which is not, I repeat, not, N-O-T, not, in the key of A minor. So first of all, you got the flat 2 there. Now, second off, the flat 6 of F would be D minor. That we'll save that for another thing. The way that this progression lands here in the B gives us a resolution onto F. So that's why I would actually argue it's been in the key of F this whole time, and it's like a sleeper cell over here, where it sounds like we're somewhere. It sounds like really we're like in G Dorian, right? Yeah, A minor with a borrowed Phrygian. Well, right there, it does a 2-5 to C. Yeah, I mean, look, if we play the game of saying that this is in the key of A minor with a flat 2 in it, it's like, okay, we heard an A minor, we also heard an A major. In all fairness, we heard an F major, we also heard an F minor. Doesn't really matter. All right, let's keep it going to the next one, which is gonna be P-Mix. All right, that's our loop point. We're gonna put it on pause there. Before I give my thoughts, I wanna listen to the B version, and then I also wanna listen to the G. I may do a breakdown on the B and the G. Let's check this out. By the way, this is how you make an album with like 5 tracks. Like the 3rd or 4th track of the album, and it's track number 16. Alright, I think we're looping there. Alright, let's listen to Tidal Tempest G mix, and then I'll give you some thoughts here. This is a wild, wild difference between the tracks. Woo! Oh, come on, Good Future, let's go. I love it, it's like waterfalls. Oh, so funky. Yeah. Well, all in all, I mean, a wild, wild chord progression. So we started writing it down before. You know, goes to what I'm gonna call F being the one here, which, yeah, you know, we're gonna end up having to change the key here in a moment. And then it does go to, I believe, what we would call here the 5 of 3. I still don't think A minor with the flat 2, but that's okay. All right, we go to the 5 of 3. Okay, and then it does go to the 3, A minor here, and then it goes to 3 major, and it goes back and forth on that 2 times. And then it goes to a 2, 5 in the key of C. So we could really think of that as being, oh, Nelly. We call that the 6 to the 5 of 5, we could call that. Yeah, we're lost down the rabbit hole. F, I don't think F was the right thing to do here, but I still don't think A minor with a flat 2 is the right thing to do here either, because we're still ending with this 2, 5, which would bring us back to C, but it doesn't. Then you can say, okay, well, if it's going to bring us back to C, then the relative minor would be a better fit for it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I just walked myself home on that one. All right, that's okay. Let's keep it going. Gorgeous funk. Okay. All right, so what's going on here? Well, a couple of things that are going on here is, number one, we start off really in the key of A minor. Now, you can see this across a lot of video game music. As far as I know, this might be the earliest instance that I've ever found of this being the case. And it's literally, by the way, you can see this in any key, but my goodness, you do see it in the key of A minor to C major, where you'll have the A section be in A minor, and the B section will switch to C major, or vice versa. And so what's going on here is it starts off with an A minor 7 going to the 4, 7 with the 9. Then we get this really fast 2-5-1 happening here, which speeds up the harmonic rhythm. Okay, what is harmonic rhythm? Harmonic rhythm is how quickly the chords change. So for example, if we go back here, all right, so what I'm gonna say is that each one of these chords is getting 4 measures. How am I counting 4 measures? It's because I'm counting along with where the snare is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, Then we have 1 measure on the 2, 1 measure on the 5, and then 2 measures on the 1. As you can see that it's literally right here, boom, boom, speeding up. So you're getting 1 chord at what took 25% of the, 1 chord is taking up 25% of the time that the other chord used to. I'm not explaining this well. All right, here's the thing about live streams is sometimes I start walking down a path and I'm like, okay, this is 4x as fast. Great. This right here is 2x, the speed of what we had here. And so you have a 4x and a 2x increase in speed. And that actually creates a lot of, well, contrast at the level of what's going on in the harmony. And contrast is key. Whenever you compose music, and it's not always, but a lot of times, contrast is what keeps things interesting. And indeed, the tonic area, subdominant area, dominant area, all these 3 areas contrast with each other. And that's one of the things that makes them useful for telling a story at the level of the harmony. So what you can see here is just how quickly the chords change over creates contrast in and of itself. All right. Let's keep rocking and rolling with this next one. Yes, Speed Like Sonic. Ethos del Sol. It must be Ethos. And Classic Sonic the Remixer, Tonic Sonic, has got the rhymes in the house. Yes, this is a live stream. This is not pre-prepared. All right, let's keep it going with Quartz Quadrant. Come on now. Woo! That was sick. I had a tune on this one too. All right, absolutely beautiful and fantastic. Let's keep it cooking with this next one, which is gonna be the bad version. And let's listen to the good version. The first one is the bad version. Now we're listening to the good version. Let's check it out. All right, let's check out G version. Never mind, we're getting something new here. Ow! Oh, we're gonna come back and revisit that. All right. I want to listen to this again. I want to listen to that again. I want to listen to that again. That has got to be one of the sickest drum fills ever in the history of drum fills. Listen to that again. Sick. Absolutely sick. That is gross. All right, what is a drum fill? You might be asking. Okay, well, typically you'll hear a drum beat. Now, the drum beat is going to be something that has, at least in this case, a degree of predictability to it. All right, you need it, and I'm going to sing along with it here. That's the snare drum. That's part of the drum beat. It's predictable. Like you hear it a couple times, like, okay, yeah, I guess I know where it's gonna happen next. Now, there's drum fills. Now, drum fills can happen anywhere, to be clear, but oftentimes in music like this, they're gonna happen either out of the second measure into the third measure, or out of the fourth measure into the fifth measure, or out of the eighth measure into the ninth measure. It's gonna happen between the, like, going into the groups of 2s and 4s. Not always, but often. Now, that was going into the next, that was coming out of a group of 4 into a new group of 4. That is sick. So Tom Sonic 41 says, I thought a drum fill is when you're transitioning in a different part of the song. Not necessarily. A drummer can fill in the area. They can fill in the space anywhere. Doesn't have to be that you're just transitioning to a new section. So you can have a section that has a drum fill going into it, but you don't have to. You can just have a drum fill by itself. You can also have a transition between sections without a drum fill. All of these things can be true. All right, let's check it out. I recognize that chord progression. Hang on a second. Sorry. Gonna give you up, let you down, run around, I hurt you, never gonna tell a lie, say goodbye. All right, I got news for you, my dear Sonic pals. When we have a series of chords that does this, and then it does this, and then it does this, and then it does this, there's a name for that chord progression. Some folks call it the Royal Road. I like to call it "You about to get rickrolled." Because that beautiful piece of music, written by, actually I'm not sure who wrote it, but at least performed by the great Rick Astley, goes a little something like, give you up, let you down, run around, hurt you, never gonna tell a lie, say goodbye. Something, something, eat a turkey thigh, or hurt you, yeah. So, there you go. So some people asking for a breakdown. That's your breakdown. We got some Rick Astley action in the house. Now we're gonna kick this back into gear with Wacky Workbench. Say that 5 times fast. Well, I will tell you. All right, this is earning its name, This is wacky. This is wild. This is absolutely nuts. That, by the way, was likely the most tame version until we get to the good future. So I gotta hear what the P mix sounds like, and then I gotta know what the B mix of this sounds like. Excuse me. Trey Housey, huh? Now, type a 3 in the chat if you like this type of music. Type a 3 in the chat if you like the sound of this music. Like, this is your vibe. This is your jam. Your happy place is listening to stuff that sounds like this. Now, if that's you, dude, you've got to check out house music if you haven't already. Because I'm telling you, this is like super, super house music inspired. All right, what makes it feel like New York City? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's the house music, man. If you ever been to like Cielo's or any of those house clubs, because they're still in the house clubs, at least last time I was in New York City was a couple years ago, you could still go listen to house music at some clubs. This is some house music. You got to check out some house music, my dudes and dudettes and non-gendered dudes peoples. Like, go check it out. All right, let's keep it going. All right, I gotta hear what the G mix is, and then I'm gonna give you some thoughts on the whole thing. This is it's been insane. Woo! Thank you, Interplanetary. Man, I'm not gonna say Super Mario World, but I'm saying Super Mario World right now. Okay. That beat-up sounds a little bit like the island theme in Super Mario World. Anyway, back to Sonic. We have a really interesting thing here. So we have this beat-up, then we have So what's going on here? Well, we have the key of, I'm gonna call it D major we started, but we start off with a D note, but a C major triad above it. So we're gonna get a C over D to a 1, which by the way, this is a funk chord. You get all over funk. And then we take that whole idea down a whole step. So we have B flat over C to C major. Something like that. Whatever, you get the idea. Let's keep going to the next one. All right, actually, before we go to the next one, Stardust Speedway. So I want to say, Wacky Workbench, what a wild and weird way to wander wisely with whimsical wontons while wearing weird and wet washcloths whenever Wednesday was with Walter's work buddies when Wanda went walking with Walter's wooden wheelbarrow. Woo! We did it. All right, let's keep it going. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. It's like you're running on a brass instrument. That's really cool. Funky. All right. Oh. All right, we are now looping. Wow, so again, we are starting to see a pattern here. Again, we hear a 1 to a 4, a 1 minor to a 4, 7, 9 situation. This, by the way, if I was to call out one chord progression as being the ambassador for funk, it would be this progression right here, a 1 minor, 7 to a 4, 7 with a 9. In fact, let me show you that this chord progression is a chameleon. They can actually show up anywhere. Well, it's doing something else. Cool. So that, by the way, was a funk standard called Chameleon by the great, amazing Herbie Hancock. As you can see that chord progression is all over funk. So let's keep the funk going with Stardust Speedway P-Mix. Saw someone say Dan and guitar solo. The Lost Mage. Not a bad idea. A little out of tune from it. Now, what are we hearing right now? So right in the middle of this Stardust Speedway, we're actually hearing a progression. Not that it's terribly uncommon to hear it in other places, but we did hear it back, I believe, in Sonic 1. We heard this chord progression. We might have also heard in Sonic 3. And then we heard variations of this chord progression in Sonic 2, if my memory serves correctly. Now, what is this chord progression? Well, it's a 1 to a flat 7 to a flat 6, back up to a flat 7. This, by the way, is a classic, an oldie, a goodie, a proper British gentleman of a chord progression, indeed. We have a 1 to a flat 6, 7. Is it a 6 or is it a 7? We have a 1 to a flat 7 to a flat 6 to a flat 7, back to a 1, all over Sonic Worlds. All right, someone said, no, you stopped it. Was there more going on here? Did we miss something? All right, we've heard it now. Next. This is sick. That ha 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 ha. Yeah, listen to this in your right ear. The ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. What a vocal sample. So many really, really cool vocal samples here. Getting chopped up, moved around, and used to such, I mean, fantastic effect in this Sonic. In this Sonic's opinion. In the multiverse of Sonics, I am in fact a Sonic. Yes. All right. House and New Jack swing music graced 90s OSTs is alternate. Thank you very much. Let's keep it going with Stardust Speedway G mix. Okay. Now, before we go on listening to this OST, I want to know one thing from you in the chat. Type an R, type the letter R in the chat if you can hear those repetitions, those repetitive ideas that keep repeating repeatedly over and over again in such a way that you go, wow, I might be listening to funk music? Type an R in the chat if you're hearing those repetitive repetitions that just are rocking and rolling here. That would give you the read that in fact we're listening to funky style music. Now the interesting thing is you look at house, a lot of house music has funk influences in it. Not all of it. You got deep house and South African house and German house and Italian house and, you know, dog house. And not all these have the funk in it, but you can hear these small ideas repeated over and over again, which is like what we talked about, the essence of funk. All right, let's keep it going with Metallic Madness. Oh, so someone wants to be a big shot, huh? This is insane. This is so good. listen to this one more time. So good. So good. All right, so let's talk about this riff right here. So in the key of A minor, it's using all the notes of an A minor blues scale. And indeed, oh, we're still full screen here. Great. Okay, so we have an A, a C, a D. We have a, I'm gonna call it an E flat. And let's put the flat on the wrong side. Whoo! It's getting hot in here. Okay, and then a G. And what we're hearing is we're going, starting on this E and going down. And it sounds like this. And then you repeat that. That is, I'm gonna call that motif A. So we have motif A, bum, 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 bum. Then we have motif A, bum, 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 bum. Then we have motif A, bum, 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 bum. Then we have motif A, bum, 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 bum. And if you're starting to spot a pattern that in sonic music, that the melodies are oftentimes, at least here, in at least this section, are not tremendously complex, and a lot of them have very, very much repeating elements, as in it's literally repeating the same thing over and over again to create that feeling of continuity and that feeling of memorability inside of the melody. You'd be right. Now, if you're a gamer, you want to create your own music, check out in the video description and in the pinned comments in the pinned chat as well, the free Video Game Composer Starter Pack. Check that out, click on it, rock and roll with it. That'll get you started. And if you're really serious about taking your music to the next level, even if you just want to do it as a hobby, like you actually want to create music, there's going to be a little calendar after you get the starter pack. Book a call with someone from my team. We'll walk you through just literally understanding your world, exactly where you're at with your music and understanding where it is you want to go, and then hooking you up with the solution to solve that problem. All right, let's go with this next one. It's going to be P-Mix. Wow. All right, let's check out the B version and then the G version here. Let's cook it.
Yeah.
This is sick.
You can't do anything, so don't even try. Get some help. Don't do what Sonic does. for a lion is my lion. Get some help. Don't do what Sonic does.
All right. We also have a pattern in the solos. So the pattern is for the solos, right before it ends, it does a sequence. Wah. Right there at the end is how a lot of these solos have ended. So that's actually pretty cool. They do like an ascending sequence and then long little phrase at the end. I mean, long notes in a phrase at the end. Wow, I gotta tell you, I didn't even write anything down. I wasn't even thinking about music theory. I was just enjoying that music because that was straight fire. I'm on fire. Absolute fire. All right, cool. Let's check out this next one, which is gonna be Metallic Madness G Mix. Let's check this puppy out. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous, and Metallic Madness brought home, interestingly, different key than I believe what we were hearing the entire time in the rest of the Metallic Madness. We're actually in the key of D major. You can tell I've been streaming for a little bit when I literally start sweating and I start saying words wrong. Okay, here we go. We got the 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4 that then goes to the 5. So what do we have here? We literally have tonic area that goes to subdominant to dominant. So it's literally a increase in tension that then resolves back here, comes back home for the A section. Absolutely delicious. And I gotta tell you, this music so far for this entire OST, straight bangers. It's not every OST that I will actually forget to write stuff down because I'm so enthralled, enraptured, enveloped in enjoying the incredible music. Let's keep it cooking. Boss! It's like the constant yelling in the background. Wow, I love that. Something really cool about the groove here. We have this. That groove right there, we have a 1 minor 7 to a 2 minor 7 to 1 minor 7 to a flat 7. Now, interestingly enough, we got these ones, we got the twos, we got the flat 7. The flat 7 actually is called the subtonic. I'd argue that while you could technically call it a type of dominant, indeed you could say that there's basically 4 types of dominance. We're going to call it the subtonic for now and call it also the subtonic for now. I think what's really interesting is that, you know, you listen to that being the final boss fight, or it says it doesn't say the final boss fight, it just says boss. In all fairness, I see the next track is called Final Fever. And you'd be excused for thinking that you're not listening to a boss fight. Why? Because of the consonance overall of the harmony. Right? It's kind of groovy. Honestly, it's kind of fun. Yeah, you've got the yelling, and yeah, you got the vocal samples, and that just does take it to a place of bossness. But I was actually having this conversation with some of my clients this morning because I run these masterminds where we get together. These are gamers who create their own music. And again, if you want to get started composing your own music, free starter pack in the video description. And then if you're serious about it, book a call. And I was hanging out with my dudes, and what we were talking about is someone played a piece of music for the group, and They said, all right, this is for a boss fight. And a bunch of people said, well, it doesn't sound like it's a boss fight. And I said, okay, everyone hold on, time out. What happened in the entire OST up to the piece of music that we're listening right now that it's gonna sound relative to everything that came before it like a boss fight? And this does, in fact, relative to everything that came before it, sound like a boss fight. Very, very interesting and absolutely delicious and delightful boss. Let's check it out. Final Fever. Oh, goodness. Oh, this is sick. I love that organ. Okay, I think that's a loop point. I want to listen back to that for 1 second here. Oh, wow. That is the first time in this entire Sonic CD we've heard one thing that I'm going to explain to you right now, and that is the tempo ramp. Tempo ramp. Now, tempo ramps can go this way, or tempo ramps can go that way. In the same way, a ramp, you can walk up it or down it. What we can hear in this tempo ramp is it starts at a certain speed, and then it slows down to a different speed. Now, this is not something you hear in every OST. It's not something you need in every OST. We can hear it happen right here. Listen to this. Here's the speed. Watch my pen. Now you can hear that drum starts to slow down. That drum's called the timpani drum, and it starts to slow on down. Type S in the chat if you hear that drum slow on down. Super cool, amazing stuff. And this is the type of drama that you might associate with a final boss. You hear some organ, you hear some opera. Absolutely, absolutely delicious. All right, let's keep it going with Zone Clear. Oh, that was so cool. Okay, so in Speed Up, what's happening? We're getting not a speed up in terms of the music, at least not that I could perceive there. What we did here was an ascent in the music, which mirrors an increase in speed. So we're in the key of C major. Well, at least we start in C major. We're gonna think about this as being the key of C major. So we have a 1, then we go to a 2, all major, then a flat 3 major, and then a 4 major. And what we're doing here is we're going up, and it's that increase, that going from low to high that makes it feel like, oh yes, we're increasing. You can see this all over, by the way, the Mario games as well. Let's check out this next one, Invincible. So in Invincible, we're in the key of C major. And in this key of C major, we hear a 1. To flat 7. 1 to flat 7. Key of C major. All right, let's check out this next one, which is Special Stage. Yeah, more house music. Let's go. Skipped over the game thing? Oh, so I did. Sorry, guys. I'll go back and grab that. I'll get it. Now, while this is playing, Piber has a question in the chat. Why does this sound futuristic? Well, if you ask me what made it sound futuristic, it's gonna be the beeps and the boops. First of all, can you hear all the beeps and the boops? Type beep or boop in the chat if you hear all the beeps and the boops. So we've got the bees, the beeps and the boops. Next would be the choice of the sound of the synths. And then I would say as well, some of the chord changes. Yeah. And then like the delay effect as well. It is a little beep, a little boop. All right, let's check out Sonic Hedgehog Game Over. Let's turn this volume back up here. Wild. All right, let's keep it going to Time Attack. Oh. I may have just made a connection. Maybe. All right, so what do we have here at, well, at least the end of this OST in time attack? Well, at the very start of this OST, we were in the key of E. We had a 1-5 flat 7-4 chord progression. Now we're in the key of D. We have a 1-5-4 flat 7. How cool is that? Just reversing these last two chords at the end of everything. Almost like it was the ending, and we kind of reversed some things along the way, and really, it was the reversal between the 4 and the flat 7, which was the friends that we made along the way, something. All right, let's check out this next one. Look out. Oh, this is so cool.
In the end, who's on your side? Who can you trust? In the middle of the night. Where will you be? If you can't find you, there's no place to go. Nothing to do. If you gotta do something, you gotta do something. Believe in yourself. 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 Hey!
I believe in me.
Extraordinary things can happen if you believe in yourself.
Yeah, baby.
You got to have the faith in yourself if you want respect from your friends.
Don't rearrange. No need to change. Stay like you are. Keep it all the same. But as you move along in your life, keep an open mind. And don't forget that if you gotta do something, believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. I love that.
Extraordinary things can happen if you believe in yourself. You got to have the faith in yourself if you want respect from your friends.
When you feel tight, look at yourself.
Inside your heart, you will find a special place to unwind.
When you feel right, look at yourself.
Inside your mind, you see connected eternity.
When you feel tight, look at yourself.
Inside your heart, you will find a special place to unwind.
When you
Oh, I love this.
look at yourself.
Inside your mind, you will see connected eternity.
All right, I gotta know. Let me know in the chat if one of the things that really appeals to you about Sonic is the message of believe in yourself and that you can overcome everything. Because, man, what a beautiful message. What a true message, too. Ah. Believe in yourself. I love that. That's everything. That's everything. That's so awesome. Love it. Love it. Ah, so good. So good. Let's keep it rolling with Eggman. Ah. All right. As this plays, I want to talk a little bit. First of all, I want to thank you so much. All you guys are still here at the end of the stream. You are a rock star. My respect to you for hanging in here and enjoying, not hanging as like it was something tough to do, but just like my respect to you for hanging and following through. Like you said, I'm gonna watch that video, and you followed through on watching that video. And I just want to let you know I respect you for that, because that's one of the things I like to do. And so when you do that, I really feel like we're on the same team. I also want to let you know I really feel like I'm on the same team with you, because this whole message of Sonic, believe in yourself, that is 100% how I live. That's how I think. That's how I breathe. Like, believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter what you're going through right now. Believe in yourself. This too shall pass. You've got this. You get to build your life. You get to decide how this movie plays out. You are in control. Ah. And finally, what I really want to say here is a thank you. So thank you for the privilege of your attention. Thank you for the privilege of being able to spend time with you. And thank you for the honor of being able to spend time with you. And to hang out and listen to this music and put on costumes and just have fun with you. This is so much fun. And I couldn't do this without you, so I just wanted to say thank you. So, thank you. And with that, let's enjoy a little bit of music here. We're gonna check out one more piece here. I'm gonna skip here to the end here. Let's check this out. Gonna give this a little listen.
Let's go.
If you're able to, I invite you to stand up and dance with me. Doesn't matter if you're in public. Doesn't matter if your family's gonna look at you weird. Your husband, your wife is watching. Like, what are you doing? I'm having fun. Invite them to dance. All right, you beautiful person, you. If you want to check out, if you're watching this video on demand and you want to watch the next installment in my Sonic Reaction series, that video is going to be right over here. I'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye.